How many people are we talking about when you talk about all the cartels?
How many people are in there?
Yeah,
Are these,
like how big?
thousands. I'd say.
So if it was an army, how big would the army be?
I don't know, 400,000 people maybe.
Whoa.
Yeah. Just like doing really quick math in my head of like approximations of how many new generation cartel members are apparently out there, which there's no real way of knowing, but there are the formulations.
How many Taliban were in Afghanistan?
I don't know. That's
Jamie, Google that. During the height of the war, how many Taliban were in Afghanistan?
And then you see these organizations. I mean, there's the people fighting out there, the people in charge, the people settling up shop, the people in finance, the people that are running the shell companies, the people that are running the actual companies, because these cartels own companies, you know? So like,
okay, look at this. Early estimates from 2001 to 2017 range from 45,000 to 60,000.
Yeah. I think there's way more fighters down there than
How
that.
crazy is that? So we spent trillions of dollars. We were there for 20 years in Afghanistan for 60,000 dudes
Yeah.
that were hiding out in the mountains.
Yeah,
And then we left behind Black Hawk helicopters, tanks.
and a lot of those firearms are showing up in Mexico.
Oh, of course, they're for sale.
The night vision equipment, or the night vision, like high sophisticated, expensive. I know about night vision. I've been learning about all this stuff in the U.S. From my friends who are all gun nuts, and I'm looking at like, oh God, look at these. I'm like, dude, where are those? They're in a house in Culiacan. It's like, holy shit, dude. How the fuck did they get from? There's routes.
I bet dudes got on a plane the moment the U.S. left. They were like, look at all this shit. We got money. Let's make a deal with these guys.
Yeah, weaponry is coming in from that side. Obviously, the U.S. is responsible for most of the gun running down to Mexico.
Well, let's talk about Operation Fast and Furious, which was bananas.
Wide receiver. It started off as wide receiver, I think.
That was like the original name for it?
It's a Bush era.
Explain it to people. What happened? So Bush administration, it was wide receiver, and then Obama administration, it was Fast and Furious?
And again, I'm going to speak of this. My participation in all of this was I was in Mexico, and a bunch of my friends got killed with those guns.
Wow.
We started just imagine I'm in my 20s back then, and you know, we get in shootouts and people are running around with guns and stuff like that. It's mostly like AR-15s, AK-47s. Some of them are really rusty and old. Norinco rifles from China, just weird firearms. And all of a sudden you start finding people with 50 caliber Barrett rifles with scopes on them, zeroed in the box with munitions. And then you look at the box where it came in and you see a label that says Arizona on it. And you're like, cabrón, you know, that's a weird thing to find on this fucking crack house that we're at. And then a few of my friends got killed with these FN-57 pistols that come. It's a high velocity round that comes in them. It was kind of fabricated in the Cold War to fight Russians invading Europe, and they wanted to be able to penetrate their body armor with small pistols and small subguns that they might have in the urban areas. So we started seeing those. And just a massive amount of firearms being delivered specifically to Sinaloa cartel groups in the area that we're working with. And we didn't know anything about it, like where are all these things coming from. Apparently, in the U.S., during the Bush administration, they started an operation that was meant to track firearms being straw purchased in places like Arizona and other parts of the U.S., by individuals, being gathered by cartel members, put into cars, and then driven down to Mexico to supply the cartels. The ATF was involved in all this. Eric Holder was very involved in all this. Their plan or theory was, we're going to track these guns when they go down to Mexico. But nothing got tracked, or at least we don't know of anything that got really tracked or any high-level arrest made because of the guns that they were just allowed to.
What do you think's really going on? Because that sounds like a bullshit cover. We're just tracking these guns.
I mean, what do you do when you want to destabilize a region if you're another country? You give guns to the shit suckers.
Why would they want to destabilize them in such an immoral way that they needed this to happen so badly they were willing to give them weapons to kill each other?
I mean, back then it was a Sinaloa cartel trying to fight control over the area, over some people that were coming like the Zetas and other organizations. And I don't know why would you send guns to this specific region? I'm not saying that the U.S. purposely armed a single cartel in Mexico, but that's what it kind of looks like.
Yeah.
You know, that's
no,
what
it looks like that's the only thing.
And this
was the purpose of it.
And this is what we saw, because you know a lot of the things that they were because it looked like a laundry list. Some of the stuff that they were bringing down, 50 cal. Why do you think 50 calibers started getting like were so hot back and still are so hot? It's because people started doing armor, so they needed a way to getting through armor. So 50 cals, right? And Americans, especially some of my American military and police friends, are always making fun of the fact that none of these big ass rifles have any sights on them. They do have sights on them, but they get stolen by the cops before they put them in front of the picture for the news. But I've heard, it wasn't me.
That makes sense. You get a nice expensive red dot on that. Fuck you.
These guys don't even have sights on their guns. They can shoot. They can shoot far. They can shoot well. Some of them, not all of them.
Yeah, if they've got expensive guns, of course they've got sights.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but everything gets stripped off. You know, donations.
Of course. Makes sense.
These started showing up in Mexico. A bunch of people started dying, and then 2 federal agents that were doing a protection detail died down there during a cartel shootout. I'm not too sure on the details of this, but they were involved in a shootout in Mexico. They were doing a protection detail down there. One of them was a Border Patrol agent assigned to this, Ryan Terry. They set up a foundation. They set up a foundation in his memory, and I think I raised like a few grand for this foundation. And I did that only as a point to like be able to say, hey, yeah, I raised this money for this foundation to honor this fallen police officer that was in Mexico, that was killed by American guns that were given to the cartels, to bring attention to the fact that, you know, we know who Ryan Terry is, but do we know who my friends are who were killed by these guns? Or a lot of the unknown people that were killed by some of these guns that were allowed to walk through that border knowingly by ATF officials, even though the people running these gun shops were like, hey, dude, are you sure? Like, they want like 4 AKs. Like, are you sure? Yeah, let them walk. They're under surveillance. We're tracking these.